top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. CHPA head resigns with immediate effect amid allegations of fraud. Says his resignation is not an admission of guilt. President Ali defends land sale to private developers. VPAC geared to be the voice for the voiceless as Guyana remains divided, says Doreen Bess. And Guyana to introduce online ED forms and new 10-year passports. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm Travis Chase with the Tuesday, February 4, 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. We have what you need to know this evening. A senior functionary in the Ministry of Housing and Water has tendered his resignation amid a number of allegations of real estate fraud and the illegal sale of lands to a convicted overseas-based Guyanese fraudster. Here's more. In the wake of several questionable sale of prime lands at Ogle on the east coast of Demerara to convicted Guyanese fraudster Ed Ahmad, and a complaint lodged with United States Department of Justice over high-priced real estate transactions in New York, the Chief Executive Officer of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, Sherwin Greaves, tendered his resignation on Monday evening. The government has remained mum on the resignation of Greaves, but Nightly News has been able to confirm that Greaves' resignation was handed to Minister of Housing Colin Crowell. Early Tuesday, Greaves issued a statement to several sections of the press insisting he's innocent. Greaves said, quote, "To address the many questions about whether I have resigned, yes, I have, effective immediately. This decision is a deeply personal one made after consulting with my family," unquote. He went on to say, quote, "Let me be crystal clear. My resignation is purely a personal choice and in no way an admission of guilt," unquote. Mr. Greaves said he decided to resign based on several posts on social media that were directed at him personally, and that those posts have caused significant distress to his family. Businessman Terence Campbell on Saturday said on his Facebook profile that he filed a report with the U.S. Justice Department urging an investigation into Sherwin Greaves' purchase of a property from Reliable Custom Builders, Inc., represented by Rashad Ahmad, the son of Ed Ahmad. Campbell wrote, quote, "If the Sherwin Greaves is the same person as the CEO of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, then it would seem that the sale of the NY property was a quid pro quo for favors to be granted in Guyana in violation of the FCPA, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act." Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. Meanwhile, the head of state is in total defense of land sold to private developers, saying his administration ensures the rigorous process is adhered to. Here's more. President Irfan Ali has come out in defense of government's allocation of land to private developers. This was after concerns were raised in various sections of the media over the questionable sale of prime lands to convicted fraudster Ed Ahmad. It is the position of the president that private developers have to go through a rigorous process before they are given the title to lands.
When you look at the total acreage that was developed and divested into the hands of these Guyanese, as against the acreage that would have been allocated for private development or for development by private developers, that allocation for private developers and commercial purposes is less than 10%. Less than 10% of the lands allocated for the housing and house lots.
The president stressed that agreements entered into with these private developers are not convoluted, maintaining that several other standards must be met.
And if you look at the agreement that we signed with private developers, regardless who the developers are. First of all, there's a process. There was an expression of interest. Private developers would have had the opportunity to respond to that expression of interest, and all of the developers would have signed the same agreement.
Most recently, the Central Housing and Planning Authority have come under the microscope over the sale and allocation of prime lands at Ogle and along the Heroes Highway on the east bank of Demerara to developers who are known to have ties to the PPPC government.
In this agreement under the People's Progressive Party civic government, no land can be transferred or vested without the full payment.
With $112.6 billion allocated to the housing sector in Budget 2025, President Ali said his government will continue its mandate in developing the housing sector. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. In a developing story, Antonio Day now tells us that the government will soon finalize and sign agreements for at least 4 oil blocks in 2025.
On Monday, Nightly News reported that the state was tight-lipped to release the names of 4 companies earmarked to sign new production sharing agreements, PSA, for offshore oil operations. However, the Ministry of Natural Resources, in a statement on Monday evening, stated that the government expects to finalize and sign agreements for the following blocks awarded to companies that accepted these contracts. The release listed the companies as follows: Block S4, Total Energies, Qatar Energy and Petronas; Block S5, International Group Investment, Inc.; Block S7, Cyberly Energy; and Block S10, International Group Investment, Inc. Whilst the process is ongoing for all blocks at this stage, a minimum of 4 PSAs are expected to be completed and signed for the year 2025, the Ministry of Natural Resources stated. It added the most substantially responsive bidders have been publicly announced, and the process is currently in its final stages, with the awardees expected to be formalized soon. When the relevant regulatory processes are completed, a press event will be held to mark the signing of the PSAs. APNU AFC Member of Parliament David Patterson, during last week's consideration of estimates on the national budget, had requested information from Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat.
Can the Honourable Minister say where and who are these 4 that you preempted you will be issuing this year?
Rather than answering Patterson's request, Minister Bharat deliberately sidestepped the question and immediately went on to be defensive.
We have nothing to hide about the management of the petroleum sector.
Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Antonio. Stay with us. You're watching the HGP Nightly News.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover a solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc. powering your life with elegance, quality, and care.
With 70% ethyl alcohol, Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer eliminates 99.99% of all germs and even moisturizes in the process, leaving your skin clean and hydrated. Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer. How do you stay clean?
It's Digicel's 18th anniversary, and we're going big with our blowout sale. Get up to 40% off Samsung smartphones. Yes, you heard that right. 40% off Samsung smartphones. Got the Samsung A05 for just $17,000. The A15 for only $27,000. And the A25 at a jaw-dropping $35,000. But wait, there's more. With every purchase, enjoy a 30-day free data plan to stay connected. Hurry to a Digicel store near you. Offer good while stocks last. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Welcome back to the HGP Nightly News. After enduring 4 years of alleged victimization under the current ruling People's Progressive Party Civic, 2 Guyanese businessmen have formed a political movement to be voices for the voiceless. Antonio Day has more on this story.
I was the first person to pioneer a petroleum company outside of Guyana and Perubis that was important fuel. This particular company paid over $1 billion a year in taxes. Less than a month into the current administration, I lost everything. The birth of VPAC is because we realized that Guyana is at a crossroad. We are at a crossroad, and it's in our best interest to decide now, where do we go next?
That was prominent Guyanese businessman and founder of Vigilant Political Action Committee, VPAC, Dorwin Best, during an exclusive interview with Nightly News. Best related to this newscast that VPAC was created to address the injustices inflicted on Guyanese citizens by the incumbent regime. The businessman, now turned a politician, posited that under the ruling PPPC regime, racism has worsened as he questioned the One Guyana narrative.
Because I don't have any problem in any government. I have a problem with uniting the people and uniting the country. The current government controls the media. Every Thursday and Friday, you find 2 leaders that are doing a very good job of dividing us.
He also referenced a huge gap between the haves and the have-nots, where the upper class gets leverage over the working class.
That the wealth that the current government have are wealth that we never had. So we're not comparing apples to apples. So for me, and for my friend, my partner, we have decided to unite on one thing. Neither one of them are for the people.
Guyana is being touted as the fastest growing economy, but many citizens are feeling the brunt of high living costs. Where are all these oil revenues going? Best quizzed.
Where is the new oil wealth going? You want me to tell you where? I'm not the opposition. I am not the government. I am a voice for the voiceless. It is going where they decide for it to go.
Meanwhile, Antonio Ahmad, a member of VPAC, also noted that the political climate makes many citizens afraid to report corruption due to fears of victimization and character assassination.
Since this government came into power, a lot of people are afraid to speak. A lot of people.
Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
The Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation's Pathology Laboratory is now GYS 170 accredited. This milestone marks a significant step in improving the hospital's diagnosis capabilities. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Trevor Basu, the Executive Director of the Guyana National Bureau of Standards, GNBS, explained that the GYS 170 standard was revised in 2001 to align with iOS and IEC 17025 standards. This brings locally certified laboratories closer to achieving international certification and accreditation. He noted that while the accreditation process was tedious, it was completed within 1 year. The certification is valid for 2 years.
During that 2-year period, the GNBS will be visiting unannounced to ensure that the requirements for certification are maintained.
Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony, in his remarks, described the GYS 170 accreditation as a major achievement. He highlighted that just 1 year after the lab's opening, it had already secured accreditation. The minister also noted that the lab is now capable of conducting telepathology, making it one of the first laboratories in the Caribbean to offer such services. However, with the current services, more detailed diagnosis can be made, significantly improving patient treatment.
Now, because of the screenings that we're doing, we're able to detect early and to act earlier, and that is very important.
The GPHC was previously the only facility conducting mammograms. However, by the end of this quarter, mammography services will be available in Linden, New Amsterdam, Saudi, and Latam, the minister explained. The This expansion will ensure broader geographic coverage, allowing for early diagnosis and timely treatment.
This year, we're planning to start a program to screen for rectal cancers. So the four major cancers that we have in the country.
16 staff members of the Pathology Laboratory were awarded certificates in recognition of their integral contributions to the successful GYS 170 certification of GPHC. The GYS 170 accreditation is a national standard in Guyana that ensures laboratories meet strict quality and competency requirements for testing and calibration. It aligns with IOS IEC 17025 standard, which is internationally recognized for laboratory accreditation. Tianako reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
As part of efforts to modernize immigration services, plans are afoot to introduce online embarkation and disembarkation forms at all ports of entry by the end of February 2025. Tianako has more.
Stephen Telford, Deputy Chief Immigration Officer, disclosed during an interview on Radio Eve Leary that embarkation-disembarkation ED forms, which are mandated by immigration laws, are currently given to passengers upon arrival or departure. These forms, which take a maximum of 2 minutes to complete, are a key part of travel. Telford stated that as the world moves further into the digital age, the ED forms will now be available online and integrated with e-gates to enhance efficiency and streamline the immigration process.
The implementation is ongoing, and I foresee maybe before the end of the month, all of our ports of entry will be fully equipped with the system where persons can fill out their ED form online.
Respective airlines will inform passengers at check-in to scan a QR code, allowing them to access the ED form. At that point, the passenger will select whether they are departing or arriving. The online ED form is identical to the hard copy version. Once the form is completed, it is submitted to the border management system, where it awaits processing. When the passenger's passport is scanned, the system will recognize that the form has been completed, allowing for a seamless immigration clearance and continuation of their journey. Shifting focus to passport services, Telford announced that a new passport featuring updated security measures and an extended validity period will be introduced.
What we currently will be rolling out shortly for our country is our new passport. Those passport has been upgraded, and it will now be valid for 10 years instead of 5 years.
The application process for the 10-year passport will follow a digital format, allowing applicants to submit their forms online.
You can make your application from the comfort of your home, and you submit that application to us, and then you'll be prompted on a date when you're required to come in to go through the application entire process.
However, he emphasized that while the online system will be available, provisions will also be made for individuals who may not have access to the services digitally. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Stay with us. There is more news ahead.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Sevon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project. It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455.
Ready to up your game? Ready to up your game? Win big with over 60 epic prizes. A brand new PS5, Nintendo Switch, iPhone 16 Pro Max, Apple smartwatch, and the hottest earbuds from Apple and Samsung. Plus, we are giving away thousands in phone credit and a whole year supply of Buster or Turbo Energy drink. Here's how. Buy any Buster or Turbo Energy drink. Find the code starting with BB and enter online or on WhatsApp. Visit us on Facebook or Instagram at Turbo_Caribbean or Buster Guyana for all the details. Don't just play. Up your game with Buster and Turbo Energy.
In December 2019, Guyana embarked on a historic journey, producing oil offshore for the very first time with the Liza Destiny FPSO, delivering 120,000 barrels per day. Today, just 5 years later, the nation stands proud as the fastest growing economy in the world. With the addition of 2 more FPSOs, production has increased to approximately 650,000 barrels per day.
Guyana is on the verge of becoming a global destination for sports and culture. Through investments backed by the oil and gas sector, which exceed $3.7 billion Guyana dollars, Guyanese get access to infrastructure and skills training for various sporting activities. The synergy between the economic benefits of the oil operations offshore and support for national initiatives helps position Guyana more favorably on an international stage.
You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Thanks for staying with us. The Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity has ruled out collating with any of the other opposition political parties, but says the ayes will have it. Leader of the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity, ALP party, Simona Brooms, was pressed for answers whether her party would join forces with any opposition political parties now that the ALP has been officially launched.
I just said there that the ALP is an independent movement, and we have just launched there. And those were my clear words that we are independent.
The former government minister maintained that the ALP is only interested in putting Guyana first and holding leaders accountable. She said her party would collate in the National Assembly.
And we will collate in the National Assembly. I did mention that. I don't know if it missed you. We're going to collate as it relates to people. When people win, the ayes will have it.
Present at the launch of the ALP was Alliance for Change leader Nigel Hughes, and he was directly asked about a possible coalition with the ALP.
I want to first of all congratulate the TLP. I think the more parties that enter the race, the better it is. Guyanese have much more choices now, and the more choices they have, the better it is. All of us, I'm sure, are interested in a better Guyana for everybody. And whatever works for the country, we are interested in that.
The ALP was officially launched on Saturday and has already amassed membership of more than 1,000 persons across Guyana, aiming to fight for dignity, justice, and rights. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News. The government and the contractor Linseka, CH4, have 28 days to decide whether they would send the rulings or any portion of the rulings to arbitration moving forward. You'll hear more from Antonio Day.
A number of issues pertaining to the gas energy 300 megawatt power plant between the state and the contractor Linseka CH4 were referred to the Dispute Avoidance and Adjudication Board, DAB, on September 19, 2024. According to a January 31, 2025 ruling by DAB, the parties have 28 days to decide whether they want to submit decisions or any portion of them to arbitration. This is the next step in the dispute resolution procedure. The Office of the President in a press statement said, and I quote, "It would be recalled that certain aspects of the project were executed on the government's behalf by ExxonMobil. The government will therefore in the next few weeks, in consultation with its partners, including ExxonMobil, as well as relevant legal and technical advisors, determine the best course forward for the government of Guyana." End of quote. Benefits of the project include doubling the nation's capacity to generate electricity to meet rising demand and lowering generation costs, which will allow for a 50% reduction in consumer electricity prices. A $527 million loan for the touted Wales Gas LNG project was signed by the U.S. Exim Bank last month. David Patterson and other opposition critics have expressed concern about the project's lack of feasibility studies and delay. Meanwhile, the Committee of Supply on Monday approved a budgetary allocation of $51.2 billion. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Your regional news is up next.
Digicel is celebrating 18 amazing years. And we're giving you the ultimate shopping spree. That's right. Top up with $1,000 or more and you could be one of 4 lucky winners, each walking away with up to $1 million in groceries. Imagine filling your cards with everything you need and more, absolutely free. Top up now and get ready to dash for cards full of groceries. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Get your tickets now for the One Guyana, One Love tribute to Bob Marley showcase at the Pegasus Poolside on Friday, February the 7th at 7 p.m. Featuring Brandon Harding, Mark Batson, Prince Ali, Empress Jalove, King Mandela, Beanick, Wi-Fi, DJ China, Carry and Correction Band, Lavanai, and Ras Sebi, aka Bling Ras. MCs Melody Thomas and Ras Punchy. Music by Redemption Sound and Murphy One Man Band. Admission $3,000 in advance. Get your tickets at the Pegasus Hotel front desk and the White Castle Fish Shop at Hatfield and John Streets. For more information, call 661-2976. It's the One Guyana, One Love tribute to Bob Marley showcase.
Don't give up the fight. In today's fast-paced world of modern finance, with its many options and opportunities, you will need good advice and help getting value for your money. Hand-in-hand trust is the way to go. From owning your own home or business with our residential and commercial mortgages to drive a new car with a vehicle loan, we'll help you realize your dreams. You can also access investment deposit accounts, share brokerage services, personal trust, thrift and pension plan trusteeship, property management, investment portfolio management, safe deposit boxes, the convenience of our Cambio, Western Union, and Bill Express services. Hand-in-hand trust for financial services and more. Helping you get the most out of your financial resources and your life.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Regional News. The country's first female commissioner of police, Earl Earwood Christopher, has been fired. The day after she was arrested, the Police Service Commission, PSC, dismissed Commissioner of Police Earl Earwood Christopher and wrote to President Christine Kangaloo to appoint Deputy Commissioner of Police, DCP, Junior Benjamin, as a replacement. In a letter to Kangaloo, which she received on January 31, the Police Service Commission said that it's directed Earwood Christopher to cease the report for duty and cease to discharge the duties of Commissioner of Police. At the time, Earwood Christopher was arrested and detained at the Sinclair Police Station for questioning over the granting of an import license to secure military-grade equipment for the Security Services Agency, SSA. The Police Service Commission said its decision was as a result of the ongoing investigation into misbehavior in public office. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has moved to remove protection against deportation from hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans in the United States, part of President Donald Trump's expanding immigration crackdown. The decision means about 348,000 Venezuelans with temporary protected status, more than half of all Venezuelans in the program, could be deported and lose work permit in April, according to a government notice. The notice said that the protections were contrary to U.S. interest and no longer justified by conditions in Venezuela. Trump, a Republican, took office on January 20, vowing to crack down on illegal immigration and humanitarian programs he says go beyond the intent of U.S. law. Trump tried to end most employment in the temporary protection program during his first term, but was stymied by federal courts. The status is available to people whose home country has experienced a natural disaster, armed conflict, or other extraordinary event. Former President Joe Biden, a Democrat, greatly expanded the temporary protection program. It now covers more than 1 million people from 70 nations, some in the U.S., for decades, and they could face immediate deportation if they lose the status. Hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans arrived in the U.S. during Biden's presidency, many via legal humanitarian pathways, and deporting them has been challenging due to frosty U.S.-Venezuelan relations. On Saturday, Trump said Venezuela has agreed to accept all deported people, but provided few details. U.S. President Donald Trump paused new tariffs on Mexico for 1 month after Mexico agreed to reinforce its northern border with 10,000 National Guard members to stem the flow of illegal drugs. The agreement also includes a U.S. commitment to act to prevent the trafficking of high-powered weapons to Mexico, Mexican president said on X. The two leaders spoke by phone just hours before U.S. tariffs on Mexico, China, and Canada were set to take effect. The countries will use the month-long suspension to engage in further negotiations, Trump said on social media. The agreement, less than 48 hours after Trump announced sweeping tariffs on goods from the top 3 U.S. trading partners, accounting for $2.1 trillion of annual commerce. U.S. stocks, which had dropped sharply on Monday morning on fears of a deepening trade war, pared their losses following the announcement. Thank you for watching. I am Tiana Cole.
CHPA head resigns with immediate effect amid allegations of fraud, says his resignation is not an admission of guilt. President Ali defends land sale to private developers. VPAC geared to be the voice for the voiceless as Guyana remains divided, says Doreen Bess, and Guyana to introduce online ED forms and new 10-year passports. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm Travis Chase. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.